So here's a thought for you. Hold it. What would you do if somebody would tell you you ought to see magic in your life? Like, how would you know what the word magic refers to? See, I've been concerning myself with magic now a bit, thinking about, what it means when watching some of these Disney movies, or I didn't really have to watch them, but just already thinking about them, it reminds me of what it used to give me as a child. Like cartoons, I often used to get up at 4 in the morning, and then I would, in weekends, because then my parents would sleep a bit longer, and I would use the time to watch TV, and it somehow gave me happiness. It didn't really give me happiness. It just made me feel different. And yes, in a way it was something I was looking forward to. Because watching TV is easy. Watching TV gives you the feeling you are in charge with that remote control. You can pick what you want to watch. So you watch something that makes you forget that in a lot of parts of your life you're actually not in charge. The reason you are not in charge in your life is because you did never take charge. And the reason is probably, as a child, you were never given an option. And that's what recent events also show. That usually it's not an option what people require us to do. No, it's pushed upon us with fear and shame, and if you don't do it then, there's always a consequence. So as a child, of course, you learn that it's not optional what you do, no, but there's a series of things that you have to do, whether they feel right for you or wrong. You just have to do it. Like sitting in school all day felt wrong for me because I wanted to move. I wanted to do things that are natural. So I was shamed into believing that there was something wrong with me. Basically, I was trained to be a good citizen, to be solitary, to do always what this weird construct called society or the system expects of me. But the thing is, everything this system expects of me is to neglect my own needs for the sake of everybody else. So how am I ever supposed to get happy if there's like a billion things that I need to do before I should even be allowed to think of myself first? So it's very complicated, right? When I watch TV, I know exactly what to do, which is sit there and have a good time and watch TV. There's nothing, if there's, I don't like the show anymore, I can switch. And all I have to do is sit there and watch TV. It's like very basic, very easy, this is what I have to do now. Because I realized then at a later stage that whenever I wanted to do what I wanted to do, it was incredibly difficult. Because I didn't know how to start, for starters. And then suddenly I was alone. I didn't know what the rules were of being alone anymore, and I thought it is bad to be alone. Because everybody always told me what to do, So I didn't know how to tell myself what to do. I felt like I need direction. I need somebody to come and save me. I need somebody to tell me, now you need to do this. Because this is the kind of system I grew up in. A system where everybody constantly tells you what to do and is always constantly concerned with you breaking things because they think you can't be trusted, because nobody trusts you, and that's why they're trying to control you. So how do you think you can trust yourself if nobody else ever shows you that you can be trusted? Everybody always thinks they have to tell you exactly what you have to do, or otherwise you will make mistakes. Well, good. Make mistakes, please. And then learn from them. You know how it is here, if you make a mistake, you get punished. Like, you ride along with your bicycle as a child and then you fall, and then a lot of people are more concerned of the bicycle, at least that what I often felt like it was with me like. You know, if I damaged the door, you know, I would get punished for it. Or if we damaged something in the car, we would get punished for it. Instead of, like, why? It's just a stupid car. Like, who cares if somebody scratches your car? It's something that is used to bring you from A to B. Nothing else. Doesn't matter how it looks like. If it has a few scratches, well, at least you're using it properly. So this material value that we place on ourselves and on the world, like the material as the body, you know, that a lot of people are afraid to injure themselves and get dirty. Well, this is a body that is used in the right way if it is dirty and has a few scratches. I always liked having scars, because they made me look tough. And it's true. Like, you shouldn't mind getting injured. But I think somewhere along the way, what you could call magic or love just goes missing. Suddenly, there is no magic anymore, because magic is in the movies, right? Magic is in Harry Potter. So we start looking at these things that to us seem magical because they are unreal, because we are stuck in the belief that in this world there is no magic anymore, because we believe that magic is dwarves and unicorns and, you know, wizards with wands and witches. But maybe magic is something completely different. Maybe magic is something you would never consider as magic in the first place, because you've been taught that magic, first of all, is not real, but you still want magic, so you watch movies. You look for it in movies. You look for it in the games you play. You look for it in these fantasies that you know will never come true, right? Oh, it's just a fantasy. It would be so nice if I could fly. Well, you can fly in an airplane. Of course, you can also fly in your mind. And you could also write a book about how it would be to fly in your mind. But where's this magic in this ordinary, you know, real life, you could say? Well, it's like with that movie Avatar, with the blue people. People watched this movie and they literally committed suicide because they were so sad living with the knowledge that Pandora does not exist and they could never live there. So they thought, oh, you know, Pandora is so magical. And all they wanted was to be there. So they killed themselves because they thought they were living in like a hell or something. Well, have you ever gone to a forest? Like, have you ever been in the Amazon rainforest? It's exactly like that. It's exactly like that. I mean, there's mushrooms that glow in the dark. Bioluminescence, it's called. Have you ever been to the bottom of the ocean? Well, I haven't. But I've seen like crazy things already at 14 meters. Like, you don't have to go all the way out to space to find beauty and magic. I believe magic is a perspective. And I believe magic is a way to see the world, which is a perspective. And I believe that a lot of people are really stupid for thinking that magic is only to be found in fairy tales and movies and stuff like that. Because I can tell you from my own perspective, yes, I've had some crazy moments where on psilocybin mushrooms I had sensation of feeling like there were like angels there massaging me. And I believe on one level it's absolutely true that this happened. But despite the fact that it happened that time and it felt real, it has no relevance to my day-to-day life. Well, in a way it has, because it showed me that magic isn't necessarily something that I see, but it's something that I feel. You know, something feels magical. So it's like picking up these things that feel magical to you and then introducing or reintroducing, because I'm sure you've had it as a child, at least somewhere, and then reintroducing these sensations of magic back into your life. And I think that magic is something very, very, very individual. Because for me, for example, this moment when I finish a book, you know, and it's all complete, and some moments also while writing, it's magic. You know, to somebody else, they would do that and they would hate it. It wouldn't be magic, it would be hell. So magic is also something that comes easy to you. You know, like in Harry Potter, you're born a wizard. Well, maybe I was born different. Maybe I was born a writer. Only because life and the people in it tried to force me into the belief that I had to be what they wanted me to be instead of being what I wanted to be or what I am. So they tried to bring me as far away of the person that I actually am as possible. And I then had to work quite hard on my belief system and on my self-image to get back to that place where I was as a child, where everything was magical. You know, where I can draw these things and on one plane of consciousness or in some distant universe or reality, they're probably real, but to me it's just an image. It's something that I draw. It's not, you know, I don't see myself necessarily in these things, and they don't have to be true in the way that I want to ride the dinosaur that I painted. No, I don't want to ride it, but I can ride a bicycle. You see, seeing magic in your life is seeing what is already there and then loving that. It's like getting up and you feel miserable. Well, you can love that too. You can love feeling miserable. You can also love feeling good. It's just seeing the beauty in life as it is, instead of wishing for life to be different all the time. So before you want to progress into a brighter future, you first have to be okay with the state of affairs, because that's not going to change very quickly. So you have to start working on that change. And like I often say, the change starts on the inside. So if you accept on the inside what it is like on the outside, and then you start changing little things, then bit by bit your outside will change too, alongside with your inside. But as long as you're struggling against what is on the outside, so, you know, you're struggling against the idea that this is supposed to be a beautiful life, because you don't see it that way because of your childhood memories and trauma and experiences, well then you probably will commit suicide, because you can never live on Pandora. And you will probably cut off your penis and testicles because somebody told you that, you know, if you feel like you're not a man, or you're not, you know, male, or you feel like you're not female, you can just change your gender. No. you can. You can never change your gender, but you can tell yourself that you're now something different. So you can lie about it to yourself and say, well, I'm a woman now, but you're not. In this life, you're a man. So it's much easier to accept the fact that you're a man, or going to be, than to just cut off what defines you as that man, because you can never be a woman. No matter what you do, you can never be a woman, you can never give birth. I have this feeling sometimes, but I say then, in my next life, I would like to be a woman. Because I think it must be a beautiful experience to be a woman and to give birth. But in this life, I'm not. So, I could go have surgery now and run after that fantasy, because it is a fantasy. It is literally impossible to change that now. So I rather accept the fact that I'm a man in this life, and then I work with that to the best that I can. And this is about reintroducing magic to your life. And I've experienced things that you could say are like magic, like sometimes working with energies feels like magic, because you can dissolve trauma in people that were there, and then you do something they might not even know, and zack, suddenly it's gone. So you can do these things if you want to, but most people are so convinced that these things are impossible. Like I said, I don't go around seeing gnomes or something, although I heard of people seeing them, but it's more like seeing with your third eye. It's not like seeing them like I see that chair. No, it's more like you're sensing that they're there, and you're trusting yourself that they are there. So it's more like seeing, like in front of your inner eye. So you trust that it's there because you feel like it is there, and therefore it must be there because you have the feeling it is there. So magic in your life, I think, has a lot to do with trust. And first, of course, comes the trust in yourself, and then the trust maybe in a creator or whatever. To me, I talk about God. But God for me is also more like a feeling and a presence and something I can trust in, rather than, God, I don't have these long conversations that some people have with God. You could say, worship God in the sense that I just live my life as best as I can. And to me, I don't say prayers before eating. I used to do that, but I don't like that very much. Because why can't I just have the feeling of trusting in God on the inside? Why do I always have to say it on the outside? Because that's again, looking like you're overly holy, which I'm not. But I can say, just seeing me as a person that struggles to reach his goal is already quite magical. I mean, when I look at where I came from, really depressed, to having written a lot of books, I mean, that's quite a struggle. And then I can see the beauty in me still masturbating, because when I masturbate, I then also continue to work. So it is a measure that helps me to keep working. I don't just masturbate only to feel good. That's what I did when I wrote my dissertations. I masturbated a lot, because as soon as I hit a low and I felt like I don't want to work anymore because I hate that, I masturbated and suddenly I had the strength to continue for maybe an hour. At a certain point it doesn't help anymore, because yes, masturbation releases energy, but that energy you won't have available anymore at a later stage. So it's also good to stop doing that and to build up strength. But sometimes it's just the way it is, it is an old solution that I have found when there was nothing else available. When I was fixed in the belief that, everything is just the body, Whereas it's not just the body, it's body, mind and soul. For me, it's in that way. Because I have the body, which is like physical and it does its job. I have the mind, with which I can imagine all kinds of things, and I can, draw conclusions and have insights and reflect and observe. And I have the soul, which is giving me direction. And the soul is to me also like the spirit, like your true self. But you use your mind to understand, because I don't know who I am anymore, right? So I have to figure that out, and for that I've been given the mind with which I can analyze all the problems that I come across and then find solutions with it. And then my soul is like the compass, which is heading in the direction, and I say I want to live a magical life, and then that's your direction, and then you figure out how to do it, and that's how you get out of prison, right? With looking what you have available and then making a plan. Because if you don't have like a car right now, you can't do certain things. But you can work out a plan, to have a car at a certain point. But maybe right now you don't have one. So you work towards it. Because if you don't have it now, you put in work and energy, and suddenly you're like 5 kilometers further, but you still feel like you're in the same place. Well, that's okay, because you just continue. Because everything goes in stages. And there's transitions, like you don't go from living in your parents' place to suddenly having a giant mansion, because you wouldn't know what to do with it. So I first had to learn what to do with myself. And when I'm like more or less stable in this, and I can actually trust myself to get it through, to have the priority as my work, and then I continue, and then at some stage maybe, your income increases or whatever, you get more projects and suddenly you're working with people. Well, before you were just working by yourself, but because you create a lot of content, now you can work with people, stuff like this. There has to be a transition, otherwise it's gonna be like, poof, you're gonna lose all your balance. So, don't be too hard on yourself is all I'm saying. And if you want magic in your life, I'm sure you're gonna find a way to get that.